Ready? Chapter 45, Lia's Revenge. Lia had been walking non-stop since the incident with Keon and Aino. She was no longer a blood mage. Their creator had taken her blood back from them. She wasn't too upset about it though. She never relied all that much on her mage powers. She only wanted her creator's blood in her to get stronger, and she was plenty strong now. If you want answers, go find them yourself, her creator had said to her. But what answers was she looking for? Giving up her revenge on Keon took all her willpower. She wanted him to suffer, but maybe it was enough now. He had been a victim of his own friends as well. She looked up at the city starting to take form in front of her. Ulfstad, she cracked her knuckles. They should all be there. She already knew the location of one of them, and that was all she needed. Just because she let Keon off the hook didn't mean the rest of them would be free to walk all of a sudden. Nothing they could say or do would change the outcome of this journey. This was her revenge. Niklas sat fishing down by the water when a woman sat down next to him. He looked confused at her. "Remember me?" she said as she turned her head towards him. He studied her for a few seconds. "Lia." She nodded at him. "I heard that you got kicked out of the wolf army, instead spending your days fishing at Riddarholmen. I'm a cripple now. The ruler don't want soldiers like me." He pointed to where his right arm should have been. "What happened? Got cut off by a sword?" she asked him. "An axe," he answered. "Ah, good weapon. Always preferred it over the sword myself," she commented. "What are you doing here, Lia?" Niklas asked her. He had enough of the pleasantries. "I'm here to get information on the location of your other 4 friends. From what I hear, they're still working under the ruler," she answered. 4. I take it you already found Keon. How's he doing?" "Pretty good. He's dating a god." "A god?" Niklas said, befuddled. "Yes, the creator of all blood mages." "Damn, good on him. Guessing she's older than him though?" Niklas asked, a bit curious. "Yeah, she's close to 200 years old, but to be fair, she looks about 30. "Wow, that's completely unbelievable. Cool story though," Niklas said and laughed. "Well, let's get back on track. I need you to tell me where the other 4 are." Lia cracked her neck. "And why would I do that?" Niklas asked suspiciously. "Because if you don't, you'll lose your entire hand," she said as she grabbed one of her axes and cut off 3 of Niklas' fingers in one blow. He screamed as he saw what had just happened. Lia's tone of voice changed to a more hostile one. "Now you only got 2 fingers left in total. You sure you want to sacrifice those as well?" He looked at her in shock as the pain finally hit him. "2 of them are in the Wolf Navy, and 2 of them are in the army. Anton and Simon you should be able to find at Muskö later this evening. Lucas and Anders usually go out drinking around midnight. They both live in Solna, close to Hagaparken." "Thank you," she said as she stood up. "Why are you doing this?" he asked her, pale in the face. "For revenge. I want all of you dead," she answered him as she clenched her teeth. "You can't kill me. I'm a cripple," he said desperately. "Why would I care? Cripple or not, you're still a piece of shit," Lia said angrily and swung her axe. "You said I would get to keep my—" Niklas went silent as the blade tore right through his neck. His head flew through the air, landing with a small splash in the water. "You did get to keep your hand. I never mentioned your head," she said, irritated, as she kicked the rest of his body into the water. Anton and Simon were on a break. They were sitting on a bench enjoying the last rays of the sun for the day. Lia parked herself standing in front of them. "Hey you, move, you're blocking the sun," Anton commented, visibly irritated. "Anton and Simon, the 2 of you haven't changed much," Lia said as she looked down at them. "Who the fuck are you?" Simon asked angrily. Your death sentence, Leah answered back in the same angry tone as him. He stood up and clenched his fists. Thinking you're all cool, don't you? You have no clue how many people I've killed. He didn't get any further than that, as Leah's axe cut right through his shoulder. He fell backwards with a scream, hitting the ground laid with paving stones. Anton stood up and started running away. Leah turned around and threw her other axe at him, hitting him in the back of the head. He fell down to the ground, dead in an instant. She put her foot on Simon's chest and pulled out her axe from his shoulder. She grabbed his head and pressed his mouth against the ground as she raised her leg and curb stomped him, crushing his face against the hard stones. It had turned into night. Lucas and Anders were stumbling around in the park, both visibly drunk. Leah could hear them from far away. They were talking loudly. She was just about to approach them when she heard what they were talking about. She quickly decided to hide instead and just listen. Those damn blood-tards won't know what hit them, Lucas said with a smile on his face. They won't have any preparation set up. Surprise attack. Bam! Bam! Anders filled in. Can't believe we actually found a military bunker. So many guns. Regimental Sergeant Major Vilja even found a sniper rifle. I mean, damn, not even those blood-tards are immune to bullets. Leah had heard enough. She needed better intelligence than this. She stepped out in front of the two men. They both looked at her in amazement. Look, a blood-tard, Lucas said and pointed at her. Anders started laughing like there was no tomorrow. Without any hesitation, Leah swung her axe once again, cutting off the upper part of Anders' skull. The laughing stopped in an instant as he sunk to the ground. Lucas stared at her in horror. Before he had time to come to his senses, Leah had already kicked him to the ground. He looked up at her without uttering a single word. I need information about the surprise attack you're launching. Tell me, or you'll end up like your friend over there. She pointed towards the dead body. Lucas opened his mouth, but no words came out. I'm waiting, she said, annoyed as she kept her eyes on him. Lucas looked up at the woman. He knew he had seen her before. If he wasn't so drunk, he would probably have been able to identify her. However, since he saw more than one of her, it was rather difficult. I need to know when and where the wolf army is launching the attack, Leah said impatiently to him. He took a deep breath. Despite his drunk state, he needed to focus. She had just killed his friend. This was a blood mage. She would kill him if he didn't give her what she wanted. It has already started. All 10,000 of the Ulfedna are marching together with the ruler to the south as we speak. The attack will launch as soon as they get there. The plan is to ambush the blood-tards at their headquarters. After that, they will go head-to-head with the survivors. The march to the south for the reinforcement starts at dawn. The last ones joining are arriving tonight. In total, 100,000 soldiers of the wolf army, close to the entire army. We are bringing every single weapon we found in that military bunker with us. All from pistols to machine guns. Unfortunately, no grenades. But you can't have everything you wish for, he said and made a nervous chuckle. The two stared at each other in silence for a few seconds. Slowly Lucas felt himself sobering up, little by little, and in doing so, he started to realize who it actually was standing above him. Leah, he said, gaping. Indeed, she answered, as her axe split his face into two. The second lieutenant stood and took in the night. She had finally gotten her revenge. After all these years, what used to be anger and hatred flowing through her body was now only sadness. She had expected to feel better, but all she felt was different. She had killed 5 bad apples. The world wouldn't miss them. Yet, something felt wrong inside of her. She wanted to heal herself, But whatever she did, nothing worked. All she had become was a killer of another 5 people, a monster with a red cloak. She needed to get back. It was her army, her home. She had been a mage in Ayla's blood army since she was a teenager. She had been given a purpose, comrades, and powers. For 12 years she had given it her all. She was not about to let the ruler destroy everything she held dear. She might have lost her mage powers, but she was still as fast as ever. It was time for her to make the run of a lifetime.